Hey guys, welcome. Welcome to our live. I'm so happy to see all of y'all. Hi Mohi Sehwal. Thank you for joining, guys. I'll wait for a few minutes for the other participants also to join. Hi Ashwin. Okay. Hey guys. We'll wait for the other users also to join. And then I'll invite our guest today for today's live. We'll invite Divya on the call. Let's wait for some more time for the other users also to join, and then we start in next 2 minutes. Bonsoir, Ashwin. So today's live is going to be around your French queries, and we have listed a few questions that are highly asked, and we will be addressing all of those questions in today's session. Also, towards the end of this live, we will have a quick Q&A round for bonsoir, bonsoir. Yes, so we will have a quick Q&A round for addressing all your questions. So if you guys have any questions, you all can drop it towards the end. I will be... Hi, Saeed. Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Divya. I
Yeah.
cannot
Hi.
see you.
Am I audible? Am I audible to you?
Yes, you're audible, but I cannot see you.
Just a second. I don't know why that would happen, but let me check. Yeah. Now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. How have you been?
Great. How are you?
Same. Very well. Thank you. All right.
Excited for
So,
today's
we're going to
live?
start our discussion. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is
Thank you
nice.
so much for joining me today for the live as well. So, guys, she is Divya. She is from Lingo Relic. You can check out her profile as well. So, even she is a French language coach. Thank you so much for joining once again. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
you have anything to say before we start?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say it's kind of exciting. The moment right now is that, the DELF examinations are upcoming this week.
Ah,
And we planned this, just by chance, but it was really good, very exciting for me to always, take this up. So, yeah, let's see how this goes. And I'll be really happy to answer everyone's questions because, I feel that there's a lot of misinformation also ongoing. So let's
right.
sort that out and let's answer whichever way we can help. And towards the end, we'll be taking their questions. Okay? Yeah.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Also, is
All
this
right.
session recording? Is this session recording?
Uh, I,
Can you
I
just,
couldn't find the option. I was just trying to check that.
yeah,
Just a
please check
minute. I'll
because
just
you're the
check.
host. I guess you will be the one to find that option, right?
Yes,
Hi,
yes.
Shalaka. Please check if you can because yes, later I think it will be a good idea to also post it if we are able to. So yeah.
I want to share it? I cannot find the option to save or record this for some reason.
Okay, that's not very exciting, but okay.
No, I'm just trying to
It's
check this because this
yeah.
is my first live also. So,
It's okay.
um, yeah.
We'll see. I mean, just see if this works, else
Bonjour,
we'll just
Ritika.
directly start. I think there are plenty of
I
people
think
here.
we'll
Yeah,
start. Let's not keep the
sure,
followers
sure.
waiting.
Let's let's do that. Okay.
Yes,
So I think first I'm going to talk about beginners because to begin with, if you are a beginner, so in that case, what are you going to do for learning your French language? You might have a different purpose. You might have, your purpose to go to France or to some other francophone country. The most frequent, reason for going to Canada is for going to Canada. So it is a TEF Canada, which is also what I'm going to talk about today. But where to start with? That is the question, right? So, generally to start, you have an option. Either you go for your self-study or you go for a trainer, right? These are the two options, but how do you decide? That's also what we're going to talk about in just a while, okay? So the first step to learning French is always, making sure that your pronunciations are on track. The thing that
correct,
French is very different from English, right?
correct.
So, and also from any other languages that you might know, unless you know any other European language, because there are similarities, obviously. But then for languages like, the ones that we have here in India, generally French is going to seem to you very different in terms of pronunciations, and it might also, being very honest, it might seem very daunting also at first. Okay, so what you need to do is first make sure that you learn pronunciations and do not head into grammar, do not head into sentence structures first. Am I right about that, Richa?
Definitely. I think when you get started, it's always best to start with some basic greetings and all of these things so that you are well prepped, and then you move on to grammar and all these things. You know, so it's better if you go it that way.
Exactly. Well, for me, generally I do this that I take up things like counting or days of the week, months of the year, these words, and in those we find those syllables, right? And so those I
Right.
introduce to the students generally in the beginning, so that way they're also building up their basic vocabulary. And for the first few sessions, we go by like that, and then we do not get into any grammar, we do not get into any sentence structures yet. But I start to tell them some basic lines as to how to introduce themselves, and so they also start getting used to with the pronunciations first, and then after maybe 5 to 6 hours of study, maybe you can take up a basic A1 level text, which you can try reading out loud. Obviously, you're bound to make some mistakes. It's going to be there, but then practice is what you need to continue. And do
Yes.
not get
Correct.
into grammar directly. That's the one thing I'm going to say. So do not get into
Absolutely.
grammar
I also
directly.
agree to that. So
Yes, exactly.
today's live, guys, we have structured in three format. First, we will be discussing about the DELF examination. Later on, we move on to the TEF Canada examination. So all your questions regarding that, y'all can put up over here in the live, in the messages, in the comments over here. Towards the end of the session, after you all have heard both of us out, and even after that, you all have any questions, you all can post them towards the end. We'll have about 10 to 15 minutes of Q&A round. So yeah, we'll first start with the DELF examination. Divya,
Yeah.
so can you
All right.
tell
Well,
the
I think
yeah, can
sure.
you tell
Sure.
us about what all are the levels and all of that, like little
Yeah,
bit in detail?
that's what I was going to mention. Yes, there are obviously some of you might be absolute beginners who do not know how the studies are done, how is the course conducted, or even how you need to study. For this,
Correct.
well, you need to know that there is the DELF, which is the Diplôme d'études en langue française, Diploma of the Studies in Language French, which has 4 levels. A1, which is for absolute beginners. Then there's A2, there's B1, there's B2. B2 is generally the upper intermediate level. Okay, and after this, you also have two more levels, which are the DELF, which is the Diplôme Approfondi en langue française, which is the diploma of deeper studies in French language, which we'll keep to another discussion right now. But yes,
Yeah.
we have DELF, wherein you have these 4 levels. If you're a complete beginner, you are generally going to start with, like I said, pronunciations. basic vocabulary, things like introducing yourself, things like introducing somebody else, talking about a basic experience, etc., or writing like informal letters in 40 to 50 words, something like that. So that is what generally A1 is about, right? Then there's A2, which introduces to you more of complex sentence formation from the topics that you have already learned in your A1. So A1 will be very basic, super simple, and then A2 is an elaboration of whatever you have learned in level A1, yes. And then you have level B1. I'm going to say that the gap between A2 and B1 is slightly more than the gap that there is between A1 and A2, right?
I
For the
agree.
simple reason, yes. So for the simple reason that A1 and A2 themes are mostly related to you personally, okay? As in your likes, your dislikes, things around you, people around you, okay? But B1 and B2 is generally going to deal with general themes. Take, for example, feminism. Take, for example, pollution, themes like that. So obviously you will have specific vocabulary related to these themes. And for that, you need to have a higher level of sentence structure, vocabulary, etc. Okay. And then
Yes.
obviously B2, which is generally about argumentation, justifying your points. B1, definitely, yes, therein you do present and speaking more. Generally, there's a monologue wherein you present your opinion. But in B2, it is more about argumentation and it is about justifying your opinion. Okay. So
Yes.
this is
B2 is
about,
more about debating. Yeah.
yes, debating. Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so I have a few questions in front of me. Don't mind me, I would just refer to them just so that I don't miss out on anything. Um, Talking about this thing, your DELF exams, do you think, I get this question very often, like students keep asking me, like, is it okay if we self-start our journey, or is it always advisable to look for a coach or enroll in any particular institute like Alliance Process, for example?
Okay. Yeah. See, in this case, I'm going to say that both these things have their positives and negatives. I'll put forward everything, and it depends on every individual, really. It's not about, there are people who have a linguistic aptitude, and if they start their journey as a self learner, they can go about it. I've had many such students, and even right now, I have such students who surprise me, as in they come after having done a study of around 8, 9 months or a year in French till level B1 or B2, and then they come to me for just the TEF Canada module training. There it is,
Okay.
okay? So, and I'm definitely surprised by the kind of hard work they've put in, but then that is because they have had the possibility of putting in that kind of time, because there have been students who've put 8 to 9 hours per day
Right.
for those 8 to 9 months or to 10 months, right? So
Okay.
how can you decide your self study is, you can go about this journey. Start with basics. There's a lot of material available online on YouTube, etc. You start with in the basics and see if you're able to, keep that regularity. See if you're able to keep that discipline. Okay. And see if you're able to self-study, as in if you're able to explore that roadmap that basically you need, because it's not sufficient to learn French, because you might not know, you might be at level A1 and you might mistakenly be taking up something from B1. Okay, some text from B1 which you will not understand, which will only demotivate you, right? So yes, some students with a linguistic aptitude are able to definitely do that, but you will be able to explore that for yourself if you do this initial exercise, and in the journey, in this short journey, you will realize whether or not you need a trainer. Okay, this could go on for like a month, and after that you'll realize if you do need a trainer. If you're able to go with this thing, then yes, please continue till whichever level you can. So obviously you're saving on a lot of money with that. That is definitely there. Okay. As for going for a trainer, the advantage that you're going to have is that they'll already put the order of topics for you clear, so you don't have to
Correct.
go through everything in detail, obviously, right? So that's definitely there.
Absolutely.
And yeah, exactly. And then towards the exam preparation also, there are students who are able to explore it by themselves. There are plenty of resources available online. If you can explore them clearly, yes, then it is definitely possible. But only thing is the order of the topics have to be right. Yes.
Correct. Correct. So I want to add something over here to this. So what I have seen is, when you're on your own, when you start your journey all by yourself, and you do not have any direction or something, especially when you're learning a foreign language, it's just you whatever you come across on YouTube or something. Say for example, now if I search for some vocabulary or something like that, it's very random. It's something, it's not well organized as well. So in that process, there are very high chances of students getting lost in the process. And
Exactly.
then, there's so much of content on YouTube and free resources available on internet as well, that, often students are just lost in that process, and they're all over the places. And,
Mhm.
the process is also very overwhelming. So if you have a coach, okay, this is the order of, your studying process, and
Yeah.
you do not get stuck,
Plus, you
and,
get
you
with
have
the
somebody to guide
yeah.
you. Like once you
Yes.
have done something, what next, what next. So, that way, and whenever you are stuck, so students have someone to rely on. So whether it is, especially with speaking, I often come across, this thing like students do understand, they can speak some French, but then, they make some mistakes here and there, and, there's nobody to guide them, if
True.
they haven't had a coach. So
Mhm.
pronunciation, and, when you have a coach, there's always somebody to correct you when you make mistakes.
That's
So that is
there.
something, yeah.
True.
So another thing, yeah, another question that, a lot of students had asked me was about Alliance process. So
Okay.
shall we speak something about the institute
Sure.
as well, like, so that our viewers can, later on make their own decision?
Explore it. True. So, well, there are two things. Alliance Francaise, well, if you go there, you definitely have a really nice possibility of exploring the culture because there is a higher possibility of interacting with natives, right?
Yes.
And so, and also you do get a longer duration for each level, right? So I think it's up to 5 or 6 months for each level, is it, Richa?
So until now, for A levels, it was 3 months. For B levels, they
Okay.
made it up to 6 months, like 2 to 3 years ago,
Mhm.
or maybe more than that. So B levels at
Mhm.
Alliance Française are for 6 months each, and
Yes.
A levels were only for three months each. But
3 months.
I
Yeah.
came across one of my student who was at Alliance, and, so he told me that now they have extended it for up to 4 to 5 months, or maybe longer.
Okay.
So I'm not very sure
Mhm.
about the A levels, but yeah, B levels and all are 6 months each. So in case
Okay.
you guys want to get up to B2 level, you will have to spend at least say 18 months or so.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a longer duration for sure. Yes. So
correct.
this has a plus and a minus for people. Like if you see, it depends on your purpose basically. The thing is that if you have a longer timeline and if you want to enjoy those cultural activities and if you want to do that interaction a lot with native teachers there, yes, it is possible, right? In that sense, it's very exciting also. At the same time, those who are looking for the TEF Canada exam specific thing, and there are many students who are barely even interested in learning French. They're like, okay, we just want to get into Canada, so it's just the TEF Canada exam that we want to take. For them, the timeline is shorter, and so in that case, that's where a personal tutor actually comes to rescue. The thing is that for them there is a possibility for you to provide you a shorter duration while also paying that kind of personal attention, because I know that at Allianz generally the batch size is bigger. Okay, so that's there. You need to find one basically. You need to see who's the trainer or which is the institute that suits the best to you. So according to your needs, I'm just putting forward the possibilities. As for Allianz, it's a longer duration. If you want to learn it as a hobby, go for it. If you want to be a professor, go for it. Yes. And if you're also the target for TEF Canada, and if your timeline is shorter, then I wouldn't really recommend that. Okay, so
Yes,
it's in that case you look for another institute or another trainer who offers you better courses for shorter durations, right? Yes.
correct. Now, since you mentioned about TEF Canada exams, I would like to, talk a little bit on that, because there are a
Mhm.
lot of students, who had DM'd me with all their questions and everything regarding Canada. So the TEF exams, I have listed a few questions which I came across
Mhm.
from a lot of my students. The first one is, how is it different from DELF exam?
Okay, in many ways. TEF and DELF both have French exams, but they are completely different. They are meant for different purposes. Their structure is different. First of all, let's talk about the purpose, and then I'll come to the structure a little bit. Okay. As for the purpose, you can see that the DELF is not meant for immigration. It will not fetch you any points for your Canadian immigration, right? For your Express Entry
Absolutely.
Canada, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
And on the other hand, you have the TEF Canada, which is the exam meant for your immigration. That's the one you take. Even if you have a C1, or a C2 in your DELF, you will
DELF,
not fetch
DELF,
any points
yeah,
for your immigration. Yeah. And
correct.
another thing is that the DELF thing is for your proficiency. It's basically a proficiency which will help you get into jobs within India or outside of India, teaching, translation, whatever you want to. But the DELF thing, yes. On the other hand, your TEF thing is for immigration again, and DELF is lifetime valid, whereas the TEF Canada is valid
Okay.
only for 2 years from the date
Only
of
for
your
2 years.
result. Yes.
Correct, correct.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Okay, so now coming on to the structure as well. I won't be explaining it in all the detail. That's not possible. It's too long a discussion.
Yeah,
But right now, I'll just explain the basics. Okay, so for DELF, generally the exam is conducted level wise. As in A1 exam, you've done your studies for A1, you go for your A1 exam if you want to. You're not obliged though. Then you want to take your A2 exam, you've done your studies, take it, you get a certificate if you qualify, obviously. And that way you take exams for each level. Now comes your TEF Canada. TEF Canada in most places, most countries, most centers, it is conducted all in one day, and the questions start from level A1, then A2, B1 going on till C2.
correct,
So it is for
correct.
all the levels within that one day, and for the same modules for speaking, listening, reading, and writing. The tasks within each exam for speaking, listening, reading, and writing for the TELF, for the TEF Canada, they are also absolutely different. So that is something that you need to explore either yourself or through the help of
Hi, Divya. I don't know what went wrong, so I couldn't
Sorry.
do anything on my screen.
Mhm. It's okay. It's okay. Happens. Can't always
Yeah,
rely on these things. Keeps happening.
correct.
All right.
So we'll
Anyway, we
continue.
were, yeah, so we were, I think, at the discussion of, I completely forgot. I'm
The
sorry.
TEF Canada exams and the preparation, how long does it take to reach B2 level?
Okay, cool. TEF Canada, well, I was mentioning as in it needs about 2.5 months for each level, as I was saying. But yes, again,
Correct.
depends also on the number of hours that you're getting from, your trainer or the number of hours you are putting into it. Okay. So, but in any case, see, one thing is there. I have had students who've done a level already, but then they feel that there are loopholes. They're not fully satisfied with, because they know that something is definitely missing for the simple reason that they have hurried into it. For the simple reason that they have looked forward to completing it maybe within a month or 1.5, something like that. And they regret their decision. And then again, they have to start that same level, which is not very
Okay.
practical,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So to come back to, yes, exactly. This is one very important advice I'm going to give for TEF Canada aspirants because, see, the thing is that if you rush into something, it's definitely not going to work your way.
Never,
It's
never.
designed a certain way. It's designed a certain way. So please try to respect that and please try to, even if it seems daunting to hear 12 months, oh my God, too much. But that's how the reality is, right?
Correct, correct. And I, rather than, reaching out at some destination or reaching at a B2 level, I would, rather, I always tell my students to, master the level that you have already enrolled for or you've
Yeah.
already taken. So once it's always a step-by-step process. You cannot directly jump at, B2 level with that goal in your mind. Okay, I have to get a B2 level anyhow within, these 4 to 6 months time. It doesn't work that
Mhm.
way. So then,
Yeah.
what happens is the level that you are at currently, you don't even tend to focus on that properly. Because
Just
you are always
just
in that,
obsessing on, yeah, rushing into it.
you just want
Exactly.
to haste the process and you want to, okay, kab khatam hoga.
True.
So yeah, that is also something not good.
Mhm.
Uh, okay. Yeah. Most importantly, some tips for speaking French fluently. So
Extremely
I
important.
would first
Yeah.
let you speak, let you give your advices, and if there is something that I can add on,
Okay.
we'll go about it that way. Yeah.
I'm going to answer that, putting forward my own experience as a student while I was learning French. And then I'm going to talk about how, as a teacher, I went through the journey of improving more and more and more. So that way. Well, as a student, me being an introvert, honestly being an introvert, I was not very much at ease with, speaking a language that did not sound like my own. So it felt very, uncomfortable at in the beginning for, I will say for A1, A2 levels. I would not take an initiative. I would not speak much. Like it was just the basic, And so that was a mistake that I did. But anyway, I was, lucky enough still. I mean, I worked hard enough that I did qualify all of my exams in the first go. Okay. But then towards level B1, I started realizing that this is not my purpose, right? So that's where I started working because my grammar was very strong right from the beginning. My linguistic aptitude is extremely, good. But for me to speak a language, because French definitely sounds very different, right? For me, I could not
Of
come to
course.
terms with it so easily, right? And towards level B, that's where I realized that this is not how I can continue. So I did try, obviously, and then in my B1, I remember having DELF 23 points in speaking out of 25. So which was superb, obviously, but then still I knew
Yeah.
that there was a lot of work to be done because DELF, in itself could not decide everything about my actual level, right? And so what I
Hmm.
did was I have been an assistant twice in France, language teaching assistant in France. So therein with natives, initially I was very overwhelmed with the kind of accent and, it was difficult for me to get through with all of that process, even though I was teaching at that time. So I was
Okay.
teaching really well. My students were getting all those results that they wanted and stuff like that. But then personally, I felt that I was not up to the mark with, communication with my, with the natives around me, with my colleagues. So I used to skip. My job there was to teach English at a high school and at a secondary school. And so I used to, my job was not to speak in French with them. I would teach them English and come back home without speaking any French with anyone. But then that continued for a few days, and then I realized that again this is not something that I came here for, and that's when I took the initiative of actually speaking. Herein, I made a role model. I suddenly just stumbled upon a page by I'm going to say that out loud here, Sha Polyglot. Okay, so this is the page I'm going to also refer to everyone else. So I actually made her my role model, wherein I would listen to her every day on her reels on Instagram, and I tried to imitate as in the
That's
way
the
she
best
speaks. She
thing.
speaks
Yeah.
extremely well. Yes, she speaks very extremely, really extremely well. Like people can't figure whether she's native or non-native. She is non-native. She's an Indian.
She's an
And so,
Indian.
yeah, and I made her my role model. I would listen to her several times a day while I was still in France and I was improving upon my spoken. And I would surround myself. I basically immersed myself within the home environment also with, lots of French music, lots of French films, this and that stuff. And that's how, with imitation, when I actually took the initiative that I have to speak, I have to use my mouth, my tongue to speak those words out, not just read them, not just, consume them, but production is another necessary part of it. So that's very
Absolutely.
important. Tip is to make a role model. Consider it could be a native, it could be a non-native. For me, a non-native worked because for me, it was very reassuring looking at her speaking so well in French, knowing that she was not a native speaker and seeing that it was possible for Indians to speak so well. So that's when
Yeah.
I made her my role model and I continued that way. Other than that, pronunciations again and again, I'm stressing on pronunciations are an extremely important part. So unless your pronunciations are right on track, you're not going to be confident with your speaking. That's really important. I'm going to say also your verb conjugations should be on track. As in, if you do not have your verb
Absolutely.
conjugations on track, you're definitely going to make errors, and that's going to lead to lower confidence in you. So I'm not saying you learn all of the grammar. Please don't focus that much on grammar, but being sure of regular verbs, irregular verbs, lots of other things. So please be sure of that so that your confidence increases. Then one more tip would be to consume a lot of authentic content. That means native content. I think we'll try to add some resources later on. We'll provide them somehow, maybe. But right now, I'm just going to say one channel. YouTube has it. Easy French. Easy French
Easy
is the
French.
channel that generally yes, I kept it very simple. I didn't, wander anywhere else for my this thing. But then Easy French has given me like so much confidence in my speaking that these are the two things that I recommend, Sharp Polyglot and Easy French. There are many others, obviously. We'll try to mention them to them later, maybe through some, this thing, some document that we can create.
Yes. So guys, what y'all can do, y'all can drop your email IDs in our DMs, either to Divya at her page Lingo Relic, or to me, or y'all can send it to both of us. So what we are going to do, we are going to create a PDF wherein we'll list down all our personal encounters in terms of free resources available on internet that y'all can rely on, y'all can use in your journey of learning French. Hope that helps y'all. So y'all can do that, and we won't we won't emphasize much in the live because then it will go on for a really long time. And
Plus, there's
so
a
yeah,
chance
y'all can
they'll
just
forget.
it
They'll
it
forget the
won't end, I
name.
think.
Exactly, exactly. This is a long discussion. Yeah.
Correct. So y'all can drop your PDFs, your email IDs in the DM, and we'll share the PDFs with y'all via emails. If y'all have any other questions, y'all can drop it in the comments. We are waiting for a few minutes.
Do we have any questions yet in the chat here?
Uh, there are no questions as of now because I think I had announced in the start that there. Okay. Sehranjana has a question. She says, I did B1 beginner from AFD. That is, I'm assuming Alliance Française Delhi 2 years back. Never given DELF. I want to prepare for TEF. Please advise how to proceed. Okay, so Sehranjana, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correct. Um, since you've already done your B1 level, I would say, just have a brush up of the level. Since you've done it 2 years ago, and 2 years is a long gap, I would say if you want to go for TEF exam, you need to give some more time for your revision until your B1 level. You have to be able to speak French and all of that. And I would say, if you have a proper coach who can guide you in that process, who can speak to you, who can identify if you really have a B1 level. Because I'll tell you very honestly what happens, no? A lot of students do enroll at institutes and all of that, and they think that they have a particular level, whereas that is not the case. Especially when there has been a gap of, say, a year or two, it is, difficult to get back on the track. And I tell you, just because you have been a part of any academy doesn't really guarantee that you have that level. So I would say, if you have someone, somebody whom you can rely on, and somebody who can provide you the right guidance, I think that is the best thing to go about. Because that way you will have a proper guidance, and you will have somebody who can tell you, okay, this is a level, and this is the amount of time you will have to invest in your coaching, or in reaching the B2 level, or even the A1 B1 level, as you've mentioned. I hope I
Even for
answered your
reviewing,
question.
evaluating the level first. The current level, well, you actually do need, honestly, you need a professional for that, really. Because, see, the thing
Correct.
is that we are the ones who know, being experienced. I could definitely suggest you going to the DELF, exam site, as in the sample paper site, and just taking up a paper and, solving it out. But then, that's definitely a free resource you can rely on. But it is going to be biased because honestly, well, for my experience, when I was not at an A2 level, I did qualify it. There were so many loopholes, but still, because exam is easy to qualify. The DELF exam is really easy to qualify, being very honest about that. The structure is like that. But it doesn't mean that you're actually at that level. So yeah, in this case, I'm going to suggest definitely, seeking help from an experienced professional who can actually test you a little bit and then let you know where your
You
course needs
stand.
to be designed for the exam.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct. Also, the test structure is totally different from DELF structure.
true.
So you cannot rely on, you cannot rely on your DELF performance or something. And TEF is more MCQ based, whereas DELF is not something like that. So the structures are totally different. I would say, look, search, research a lot on, the structure, the patterns, the kind of questions that are asked, because TEF exam is going to evaluate, I mean, students of all levels are going to appear for this exam, right? So you can imagine the level of difficulty. I'm not scaring you again. I'm not trying to scare you here, but just trying to show you the level of proficiency that you need to have, to appear for TEF. And guys, mind you, TEF exam clearing is, I won't say clearing TEF exam, but getting a good level in TEF exam is not easy. It's not very difficult also, but it's not easy. Let's
It's a
be
long
real.
journey.
It's
It's a
a
long journey. You got to be
long
very, very
journey.
serious and
Correct.
dedicated.
You have to be dedicated, and if you have to complete your your TEF studies, or you want to complete your B2 level in TEF, if you have that goal in your mind, if you can give about 6 to 7 months very dedicatedly, uh, that is the best thing that you all can do. Otherwise, the process will keep elongating, and you will be overwhelmed that it is going on for such a long time,
Yeah,
like as
it
Divya
is.
mentioned sometimes back. Any other questions, guys?
So I think we do have some questions here. Somebody asked for school study resources. As for resources, like we mentioned, we are going to create a PDF wherein we'll add the resources. Because see, even if we mentioned any resources right now, you would anyway forget them.
Correct.
Even if you would note them down, maybe you would not get the French names in case you're a beginner. Okay. So we'll create a PDF. Please drop your email IDs on our DM, either to Richa or to me, and we're going to take that up. We'll send you personally your, this thing, resources, all the resources that you can rely on. And
Correct.
I
And
think there
in
was
case
another
there are any,
question. Yeah.
yeah, in case there are any links or something also that we need to mention, you all, we will do that as well, so that you all reach y'all can access the correct resource that we are talking about. And for speaking tips, if you want to really start your speaking journey from the beginning, I would say talking out loud. I think, this may sound funny, but this is something that I had done, in my journey. I still do it, in fact. So the trick that I'm talking about is self-talking. I think, when you are talking out loud to yourself, you are, know, uh, you are utilizing all the stuff that you have learned so far, and you're trying to implement all of that. So you're producing some sort of content. I think production is really important because, see, there are two ways of learning a language or anything in your life. Even if you want to learn not just French, any other language also, there are two ways of learning, right? Um, One is wherein you're consuming a lot of content. Another thing is where you're actually producing a content. This is one big reason why, a lot of students have that examination anxiety, and, they are really scared to attempt any exam. The reason is because they have never produced anything. They never put in that effort. Or maybe they never got an opportunity to speak in a class of, say, 30, 40 students. Or I wouldn't, blame anybody for that. But maybe, you are a little scared to talk to people, or, you're scared to talk in your target language. So I would say self-talking is the best thing because there's nobody around you who understands. And the best part is, especially in my case, there was nobody in my house who understood French language. So it was just me talking and talking and talking. And I think that really helped me clear my B2 exam also. It was so much easier, like even, when you go for the speaking round, because mind you all, for DELF B2, you need to speak for 7 to 8 minutes. So that is a really long time. You cannot take fillers or gaps in between. So to be able to speak for that long fluently on any topic, any debatable topic like feminism, as Divya mentioned, so you need to, you cannot be out of content. So I'm not saying that, you have to have a really complex structure of sentences used in your speech or something, but start from wherever you are. Even if you're a beginner, if you've learned how to introduce yourself, if you've learned présentez-vous, start with that. I mean, just start talking out loud. Je m'appelle Richa, je suis étudiante, je suis indienne, and whatnot. You can keep adding more and more things to it. When you learn about family, you learn about, some day-to-day thing. Start talking in French language regarding that. If you learned how to describe an apartment, just pause for a
Just speak
minute,
it up.
look around, whatever you see, and start translating that in French. It's as simple as that. Understand? So the more and more you implement what you learn, the faster your learning journey becomes. So it's not always consumption of content that is going to help you all. Believe me, if you all rely on, you all feel that, okay, I'm going to listen to French radio, or I'm going to watch these videos, and I'm going to watch a lot of videos, and I'm going to, attend all the lectures, even if you have enrolled in any academy, or you have a coach, or you're taking some sessions online also. I mean, just attending those things are never going to help you. You will never be able to speak. So what
True.
I come across, when I ask my students, they just go blank. They are not able to, utilize what I taught them also. So now onwards, I have, it feels like more of a Q&A kind of a thing, like wherein I'm asking a lot of questions to the students, and then they have to answer me. They're compelled to answer me, you know. So I think that is something that has to come from within. You have to upfrontly put in efforts. No coach or, no Alliance Française level is going to guarantee what level you actually have, because practice is the only thing that is going to help you all. Believe me. Any other questions, guys, before we
I'm
end
just,
the live?
I'm just gonna add one little thing here.
Yes,
When
yes.
I was a student, my teacher once mentioned that, you students have a bad habit of comparing your A1 level of French with your C1 level of English. And that's where you get stuck. That's the reason you get
Right,
stuck.
right.
because you
Absolutely.
want to immediately make those elaborate sentences, say all out loud in French, but that's not possible. Keep it simple. Keep your
Keep it
sentences
simple.
simple.
Keep it
Yeah.
simple.
So, yeah, one of the keys is also not trying to be over smart during this journey, right? You've got to keep it very simple. So,
Yes,
like, start with
absolutely.
basic. It's simple to complex is what should be your strategy.
I agree. I agree. Absolutely. So if you're at a beginner level, use beginner level French. I mean, and also one thing, I want to mention, this is something that is very common in all the students, not just majority. When there's something on which students have to speak, if there is something on their mind and they're unable to translate that, they get stuck at that point. I mean, don't hold on to anything. Try finding out some easier alternative to that. And
Reformulate.
correct. So if you want to say something like I'm taking online course, or my lectures start at this particular time. If you're not able to translate that, come up with an alternative in English. And one more thing, when you're translating, you have to think from the target language perspective. So the the French language is totally different in terms of writing and in terms of speaking. So we all know that the pronunciations are so different from the way the words are spelled, right? So focusing, like as Divya mentioned initially, focusing on pronunciation from day one is so much important, because pronunciation can make so much of difference, believe me. Anything else you want to add, Divya? Any other questions, guys? Please post them before we end the live. We'll wait for another, say, 5 minutes or so.
Well, I think there would have been questions already because we were already speaking. But I guess that's it. I think that would be all about this session. And yes, as for saving this video, we've actually tried our best to do this. And if we end up getting a proper final product, we'll definitely post it. We'll also
Yes.
post it on YouTube. And so, yeah, you can just go through all the tips that we have shared today. Okay. We'll also try to do more live sessions like this. If you would like us to discuss on any particular topic, if you found this one informative, some people are writing it was informative. Thank you so much. And if you feel there's another thing that you want to discuss regarding, we can try doing another live video. You can just write to us. Okay.
Sure. Yes. Yes. So we'll end the live here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and staying with us till the end.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Richa. Thank you for having me
Thank
here.
you, Divya. Thank you so much for getting time, for taking time out from your busy schedule as well, because I know how overwhelming everything is right now since DELF exams are on our heads.
Right now, it
But
is
yeah,
honestly good. But yeah, it was really fun. It was a nice experience
yes,
today. We'll do this
yes,
more. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
we
Thank
should do
you.
it more often. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Divya.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye
Okay.
bye.